Hello, and we're back with a game between Mikkjal and ALittleBlank. Mikkjal is on blue-white Rini, the most hyped deck going into this GP, although it hasn't been performing all that well, so whether that's due to variance or bad piloting or because the deck isn't actually all that it's cracked up to be, remains to be seen. But anyways, the deck runs Rini, which costs 1 less for each instant and sorcery spell in your graveyard, and also makes a 4/4 whenever you cast an instant or sorcery. So, and the deck also runs a bunch of counter spells and a bunch of cantrips. So you can easily get Rini down to 2 mana, and then you slam Rini, plus a counter spell backing it up, and then you just win from there. You also have Patient Optimizer to do Delver-style beats. Meanwhile, ALittleBlank's on Crazy Train, an artifact combo deck. It runs some artifact cost reducers, and a lot of 1-mana artifacts, so with those cost reducers in play, all your artifacts 1-mana artifacts cost 0 mana. And then with that, you're looking to play a bunch of 1-mana artifacts and then cantrip through your deck. It also runs Book of Secrets plus Sage's Ashes combo, which allows you to tutor up any card you want. For the win, it runs Dead Man's Hand plus Dimensional Reshaper plus a Spirit artifact, which will insta-kill your opponent. Okay, so Mikkjal keeps a hand with 2 lands, a Rini, and card draw and counter spells. That's the ideal sort of hand you want for this sort of deck. Meanwhile, ALittleBlank kept a hand with lands, one of the combo pieces, and some card draw. So that's also a very good hand for them. They're just going to run out the turn 1 Warded Tome. Does Mikkjal counter that? And the answer is no. And because Mikkjal can just hold up Opt this turn. Then again, ALittleBlank passes the turn without cracking the Warded Tome. Still wonder what they're saving it for. I guess maybe Sage's Ashes, because with Sage's Ashes, you can see the top card of your deck, and with Warded Tome, you can just draw that card without having to put Sage's Ashes back on top. Mikkjal draws another Cosmic Sinkhole, and they're going to play out Ocean Monastery so they can keep up 2 sinkholes if need be. Or still a Pandemonium. And they're going to just fetch right now. I'm assuming they're fetching for a Pool of Light. And they pass the turn holding up a counter spell. And ALittleBlank they're just going to run into Hellbent Speed, and I'm assuming Mikkjal just counters that. So what counter spell are they going to use here? Probably, well, maybe Cosmic Sinkhole, because that counter spell is conditional, but no, they're just going to go for Cursory Glance here. I probably would have used one of the Cosmic Sinkholes first, because the Crazy Train does have a lot of floating mana when they have stuff in play. So Mikkjal can either play Patient Optimizer and hold up Cosmic Sinkhole, or they can just hold up still the Pandemonium. I would probably play Patient Optimizer out and hold up Sinkhole, because Sinkhole for 2 will probably counter whatever ALittleBlank tries to play next turn. And ALittleBlank draws even more lands. So that does make the Cosmic Sinkhole a bit worse. ALittleBlank finally cracking the Tome for a card draw. I still don't know why ALittleBlank keeps up the Tome until later, because I don't think it makes a difference if you crack it now or late, or it's strictly better to crack it early, because you're going to draw that card anyway, so you might as well draw it sooner so you have more information to work with. Anyways, ALittleBlank tries to run out Mysterious Coffer, probably to deal with Patient Optimizer, but Mikkjal just sinkholes it. And now ALittleBlank gets to run out Sage's Ashes. Or they're gonna play Imperial Coins first and then Sage's Ashes. And now Ride the Storm costs 5 mana. Does ALittleBlank have enough mana for Ride the Storm here? Well, not that it would matter, because Mikkjal still can't slam Rini with counter backup yet, but they fetch into the land, and then I think they just pass the turn holding 2 counter spells. And still Pandemonium will be more than happy to counter Ride the Storm. Once that happens, ALittleBlank is in trouble, because they have nothing else in hand. Swings in with the 1/1 Patient Optimizer. Not a huge threat now, but that thing's going to grow pretty soon. Now ALittleBlank finds the Book of Secrets. Are they just going to try to play? Are they just gonna run it out and into a counter spell, or are they going to try to bait the counter spell with Ride the Storm first? Eternal reactors are also ticking up, but I don't think they don't make mana yet, or at least they don't break even on mana yet. It has 4 mana to work with this turn. They can run out the Book of Secrets and get countered, or actually no, they can't cast Ride the Storm yet because it's too expensive. Now, at this point, I think ALittleBlank is just thinking about whether to just do nothing this turn, which is not very good for them, or to run out the Book of Secrets into the counter spell, which is also not very good for them. Meanwhile, they also know what the top card of their deck is through Sage's Ashes. So they're just going to pass here. I guess they're really afraid of the Book of Secrets getting countered, so they'd rather pass. Waiting for next turn also allows them to tick up the Eternal Reactors, and with one more counter, this Eternal Reactor will actually start making mana. Meanwhile, Mikkjal also passes the turn without doing anything because ALittleBlank decide to not cast anything into their counter spells. So notably, Mikkjal decides not to slam Rini and decides to pass the turn holding up counter spells yet again. ALittleBlank picks up the Eternal Reactors. At this point, I think ALittleBlank can just wait. Well, but of course, ALittleBlank doesn't actually know what's in Mikkjal's hand. For all they know, Mikkjal has a bunch of cantrips. But at the same time, Mikkjal did nothing last turn when ALittleBlank passed the turn without doing anything. So that sort of implies to ALittleBlank that Mikkjal is holding a bunch of counter spells that they can't cast currently. So Mikkjal runs out the Warrior Tome, or ALittleBlank runs out the Warrior Tome. Is Mikkjal going to counter it just to get a card into the graveyard? And Mikkjal wisely decides not to counter the Warrior Tome. So is ALittleBlank going to crack the Warrior Tome right away? I guess they do want to hold it up because of the Book of Secrets. And now ALittleBlank passes a turn and they can end step Ride the Storm and try to get that thing countered so that they can run out Book of Secrets next turn. Meanwhile, Mikkjal still doesn't draw any action. So at this point, their Rini is 4 mana, so they can play a 4 mana Rini and hold up Cosmic Sinkhole. Alternatively, they can wait and then end of turn Gaze Deeper, which draws them a bunch of cards and also gets them to a 3 mana Rini. But if ALittleBlank plays any spell, then Mikkjal can also counter it, and then that gets them to a 2 mana Rini next turn. Okay, Mikkjal is just going to run out Sorcery Speed, Gaze Deeper, drawing 3 cards and probably looking for something to do. Okay, so Mikkjal draws into even more Still the Pandemonium. That's quite good for them because the ALittleBlank's deck is almost entirely countered by Still the Pandemonium. And Patron Optimizer also gets upgraded due to the card draw. But the problem with... And Mikkjal doesn't even attack... Oh, okay, they're attacking. Good, they didn't forget. So the problem with tapping out for Gaze Deeper main phase is that now Mikkjal doesn't have enough mana to counter 2 spells. So ALittleBlank is probably going to run out Ride the Storm, get countered, and then now Mikkjal won't have enough mana to counter the Book of Secrets coming down on ALittleBlank's turn. I think Mikkjal is probably, well, they can either Sinkhole or Still the Pandemonium here. I think they want to Still the Pandemonium to get the clue, but at the same time, Sinkhole is more conditional, and you want to use it at a time when the opponent's actually tapped out. And yeah, so Mikkjal elects to go for Sinkhole right now and keep Still the Pandemoniums for later when ALittleBlank has more mana. Now ALittleBlank untaps and is staring down at its tapped out Mikkjal. And now they just get to run out the Book of Secrets. And Mikkjal is helpless to stop it. So the Book of Secrets, if you would look at any or reveal any card in your deck, you may instead search your deck for a card. And Sage's Ashes lets you look at the top card of your deck at any time. So with these 2 cards combined, they have full control over what the top card of their deck is. So is ALittleBlank going to use Book of Secrets plus Sage's Ashes to tutor something to the top and then tap Sage's Ashes in order to draw it immediately? And I think that's what they're going to do here. So the problem with cracking Sage's Ashes now is that ALittleBlank might not have a second Sage's Ashes next turn in order to let the Book of Secrets tutor, because Book of Secrets on its own doesn't really do much. And yeah, ALittleBlank realizes that if they use up the Sage's Ashes this turn, they won't have it next turn. But I think ALittleBlank realizes that they don't really have that much time, so they're just gonna go for it. And now they're gonna tutor up Ride the Storm and then cast Ride the Storm, probably hoping to hit another Sage's Ashes off it. Oh wait, Ride the Storm works with Book of Secrets, so they literally just get to tutor 7 cards. And now ALittleBlank uses Ride the Storm plus Book of Secrets to grab 2 Sage's Ashes so that they can continue the Book of Secrets loop. And then Dimensional Reshaper plus Dead Man's Hand plus Imperial Coins, their kill combo. And I guess, yeah, another Ride the Storm in case Mikkjal counters anything. The problem here is ALittleBlank doesn't have mana to do anything afterwards, so Mikkjal will get to tap before ALittleBlank gets to play out their hand. And now Mikkjal can slam Rini and with counter backup. They also draw a Crest, which they can use on the Book of Secrets to stop it from tutoring with the Sage's Ashes. But they don't have enough mana for Rini plus 2 spells, so they're going to have to choose which spell to cast here, and I think they're just going to play Rini and keep up Still the Pandemonium. Mikkjal is going to run out Patient Optimizer first, so I don't think it really matters what order they're doing it in. Yeah, they're going to play Patient Optimizer and a 2-mana Rini and pass the turn with counter mana. So now ALittleBlank taps with a bunch of mana too. And now Mikkjal can only counter 1 spell this turn, so they're going to have to decide which of ALittleBlank's spells to counter here. So ALittleBlank uses the Eternal Reactor to give them a bunch of mana. And now, does Mikkjal counter the Sage's Ashes? Actually, Mikkjal knows what's in ALittleBlank's hand right now, and they know that if they counter anything except the Dimensional Reshaper, then ALittleBlank can just drop Dimensional Reshaper and then kill them with the combo. But seems like Mikkjal is unaware of that fact, so they're just going to counter Sage's Ashes, and ALittleBlank can just play Dimensional Reshaper plus Imperial Coins and swap it with Dead Man's Hand and win this turn. So yeah, Mikkjal should have kept up Still the Pandemonium for Dimensional Reshaper because that card wins the game on its own with Imperial Coins. But if Mikkjal did keep up Still the Pandemonium for Dimensional Reshaper, ALittleBlank can just use Sage's Ashes plus Book to dig for more stuff. Or they had 2 Sage's Ashes, so they can just tutor cards infinitely at that point. And Mikkjal would also be screwed there because ALittleBlank can just find whatever they need, including redundant copies of the combo pieces, and then Mikkjal won't be able to counter all of them, and they also lose from that. And I think ALittleBlank actually had enough mana to dig for stuff, and then also, well, no, they don't have enough mana to cast 2 Dimensional Reshapers in a turn. So if Mikkjal held up Still the Pandemonium, then ALittleBlank gets down 2 Sage's Ashes, tutors redundant copies of the combo pieces, and then passes the turn, and then after that, it's a battle between how many counterspells Mikkjal has and how many redundant combo pieces ALittleBlank has. So for sideboarding, ALittleBlank has the Artifact Aggro sideboard. Is Artifact Aggro good against Rini? I'm not sure. Well, Volatile Stonework does answer Rini, but it also doesn't get countered by Still the Pandemonium. And Rini does have some trouble dealing with creature swarms. But I guess we'll see what ALittleBlank thinks here. Meanwhile, Mikkjal, they have Bind the Mind and Admonish, and that's really the only cards that do stuff in this matchup, so that's probably what they're going to bring in here. And we're back. So both players draw their opening hand. Mikkjal has hand with 2 Rinis, 1 counterspell, and 3 lands. Not very ideal, but still keepable. Meanwhile, ALittleBlank has a hand with the combo pieces, but, well, they have card draw and mana, but probably not very good. But ALittleBlank keeps anyways. Guess they want to take up the Eternal Reactors early. But they're not going to play the Eternal Reactor turn 1. Instead, playing Transplanted Citadel. I would play Eternal Reactor turn 1 just to get more counters onto it over the course of the game. Again, ALittleBlank doesn't crack the tome immediately. I still don't know why they play like that. Anyways, Mikkjal plays their second land and I guess passes the turn holding up Cosmic Sinkhole. Mikkjal draws their Hellbent Speed. Luck is just going to try to run out Dead Man's Hand. Mikkjal is very likely not going to counter this. And since ALittleBlank played Dead Man's Hand first, I'm assuming they're not going to play Hellbent Speed this turn. So they're probably just going to play the Rail Line this turn. Yeah, they're just going to run out the Rail Line. And does Mikkjal counter this? I don't think they do, but okay, they will anyways, because otherwise they're just going to be wasting mana this turn. Well, alternatively, Mikkjal could have crested the Rail Line because it does enter tap, so cresting it will set back ALittleBlank by a turn, and then you also get a clue that you can crack in case you don't draw any, or in case you want to hold up your counters, but your opponent doesn't play anything, so you can crack the clue at the end of turn. It seems like Mikkjal has drawn a card draw spell, so they probably will just pass the turn here. I mean, they can also opt first in order to see what they dig into. Mikkjal just passes the turn with mana up. So, what do they want to hit off? What do they want to hit with Crest? I guess Hellbent Speed is decent target, maybe, because it does require you to build up counters on it. ALittleBlank just plays Clockwork Gaucho, going for the Artifact Aggro plan. So yeah, guess ALittleBlank did board into Union Rail Strike Breakers and Clockwork Gauchos. And Mikkjal, actually yeah, did Mikkjal board out all their removal? Because if Mikkjal did, then the Artifact Aggro plan would be a huge problem for them. Mikkjal opts and doesn't find a counter. So Clockwork Gaucho will resolve here. Does Mikkjal crest it right away, or are they going to just plan it at end of turn? I'm assuming they just plan it end of turn, because Gaucho doesn't do anything right away, so they can afford to wait. And Mikkjal goes for the end of turn planet, drawing more lands. So Mikkjal is still 3 away from a 2-mana Rini, and draws even more lands. But they still can't cast Rini this turn. They can crest right now in order to leitmotif the planet and dig for stuff. Or they can just pass the turn and hold up crest. They're just going to pass the turn and hold up crest. Yeah, Mikkjal draws more lands. So both players are drawing lots of lands this game. I think, okay, ALittleBlank finally cracks Water Tome now, for some reason. And I guess they're just going to run out Sage's Ashes. Mikkjal doesn't have a counter spell, but is Mikkjal going to dig for one right now? Because they can just crest the Clock Gaucho and then draw something off planet. Mikkjal is just going to let it resolve. And ALittleBlank is going to run out Dimensional Reshaper, I think. Or no, they're going to run out Hellbent Speed. And again, Mikkjal doesn't have a counter, so are they going to dig for one? No, they're not. I guess, yeah, Hellbent Speed doesn't really do much right now, because can actually make artifacts cost 0. And ALittleBlank decides to pass the turn without attacking. Or, I guess they're keeping up the tap ability to put more counters on Gaucho. And Mikkjal is just going to crest the Gaucho here, I'm assuming, end of turn. They're going to crest the Hellbent Speed. Okay. Yeah, I guess it's probably a good idea to crest one of the engine pieces. So they're going to crest and make a clue, and they get to draw a card off planet. More lands, that's not very good. And they can also crack the clue right now in order to dig again. And they finally draw into a counter spell. So now that they have four spells in graveyard, they have enough mana to just slam a Rini and keep up a 2-mana Cosmic Sinkhole. I think that's probably what they want to do here. So Mikkjal runs out the 3-mana Rini, and then passes. I'm assuming they pass the turn with Cosmic Sinkhole mana up. And now ALittleBlank is sort of in trouble because Rini presents a pretty fast clock here. And I don't think Artifact Aggro can really race Rini, so they will have to go for a combo. And they draw a Glistening Chalice, which will make the Sage's Ashes cost 0. I think at this point, ALittleBlank just tries to run out all the combo pieces, or the engines pieces. So are they going to play Glistening Chalice into the Cosmic Sinkhole? Oh no, right. They're just gonna activate Transplanted Citadel because they have the mana to activate Transplant Citadel now, and a 6/6 creature matches up pretty well against Rini. And now that Mikkjal didn't use Cosmic Synchro last turn, they can't make they don't have any targets to make the Angel with. So they're just gonna go an entire turn without making an Angel. They're gonna lose out on one of the Rini Angels because if they did Cosmic Synchro this turn, then they would have been able to get a Ranger that can attack. ALittleBlank not activating a Gotcho right away. I feel like they should have. Yeah, they should have activated Gotcho right there in order to get one more damage in. And yeah, Mikkjal passes a turn, drawing another counter spell, but counter spells don't stop Manlands from attacking. And I think ALittleBlank is just gonna keep attacking with the Transplanted Citadel until Mikkjal forces them to do something else. I don't think Mikkjal has the ability to do that. So I think Mikkjal is forced to chump the Citadel with Rini this turn, and then I guess next turn is ALittleBlank going to play spells into Rini because that would give Mikkjal an opportunity to make Angel tokens. Yeah, ALittleBlank probably should have attacked with the Citadel first, forced to chump block with Rini, and then started casting spells into Mikkjal's counters. Because now Rini gets to make Angel tokens, and that makes attacking with the Citadel a lot harder. ALittleBlank is going to attack with the Citadel anyways, and I'm assuming it's going to get chumped by the Angel token. Well, actually, Mikkjal could chump with the Rini because they do have another Rini in hand, and they have more than enough mana to cast another Rini next turn and still hold up stuff. And then if they chump with Rini, then the Angel token gets to get in for damage next turn. And Mikkjal does need to race here because Citadel is coming down pretty fast. And yeah, Mikkjal is going to chump with Rini. So does Mikkjal top deck card draw? Okay, yeah, they do. So now they can play Rini plus a cantrip and start making Angels that way. And now Transplanted Citadel can't attack profitably into Mikkjal's board. Mikkjal playing Nebula for off-color mana in order to get a Cosmic Synchro for 3. And they're just gonna Monkey Shines and I guess try to find stuff to trigger Rini or deal with ALittleBlank's board. They're gonna Monkey Shines to draw another Monkey Shines and Monkey Shines again for another Angel. And they're gonna decide to bin both Patient Optimizer and run to Cursory Glance. And running to Cursory Glance was key there because ALittleBlank is holding Mysterious Coffer, and with Cosmic Synchro, Mikkjal can't actually counter ALittleBlank's Mysterious Coffer. And the Mysterious Coffer next turn, if Mikkjal didn't draw Cursory Glance there, then ALittleBlank just goes Mysterious Coffer, pay for Cosmic Synchro, and then just get rid of all the Angel tokens and swing in with Transplanted Citadel. And then Mikkjal will be forced to block with Rini, and then Mikkjal has to top deck something good again. But now that Mikkjal has caught Cursory Glance, they can just counter the Mysterious Coffer, make an Angel off that too, and then I think, yeah, and then Mikkjal just has lethal there. So the question now is ALittleBlank going to make the same mistake of not attacking with the Transplanted Citadel before casting their spells? I think the answer is, yeah, they're going to cast their spells first, I think, because Mysterious Coffer. So is Mikkjal going to get baited by that? The only card that answers Mikkjal's board right now is Mysterious Coffer. So does Mikkjal realize that, and are they going to preserve Cursory Glance just for Mysterious Coffer? Or I guess any possible combo pieces, because, yeah, they do have enough mana for Dimensional Reshaper plus Coin, so ALittleBlank could also have that combo in hand. So yeah, Mikkjal definitely should be holding up counters for this thing. But instead, Mikkjal decides to Cursory Glance the Nightwatch Rallier, a card that would not have changed the result, or that would not have affected the game very much. And now they're gonna lose to Mysterious Coffer. And alternatively, if ALittleBlank had a Dimensional Reshaper, or they do have Dimensional Reshaper. Okay, so if ALittleBlank had Imperial Coins in hand instead of Mysterious Coffer, the play that Mikkjal made would also have been losing, because then they wouldn't have anything to counter the Dimensional Reshaper plus Imperial Coins plus Dead Man's Hand combo. So yeah, countering that Nightwatch Rally there was a huge misplay. Wait, is ALittleBlank not going to activate the coffer first? I mean, yeah, they can just crack it anytime, so... Yeah, and then now Mikkjal is forced to chump with Rini, and Mikkjal concedes. Yeah, so Mikkjal could have won that game if they kept the counter spell for the spells that actually mattered instead of wasting it on a spell that didn't really do anything at that point of the game. But yeah, that's just how things go sometimes. And Crazy Train takes another game.